Hi friends, today I will teach the topic hybrid routing. Hybrid routing is a combination of both distance data routing and link state routing. In hybrid routing, we can use the protocol Eigrp. The expansion of Eigrp is Enhanced Interior Gateway Routing Protocol. Using that protocol, we can configure the scenario. We can take the IP address 200.200.200.0. In local area network, we can assign the subnet mask 29 that can be mentioned as 255.255.255.248. 248 can be calculated as 128 plus 64 plus 32 plus 16 plus 8. The last value we can add it as 8. So each local area network we can assign 8 IP address. In wide area network we can assign the subnet mask 30 that can be mentioned as 255.255.255.252. 252 can be calculated as 128 plus 64 plus 32 plus 16 plus 8 plus 4. The last value we can add it as 4. So each wide area network we can assign 4 IP address. Let's we configure network 1. First of all, we can assign the IP address to the network 1. In network 1, we can assign the net ID is 0, 0 to 7, totally 8 IP address. 0 is a net ID and 7 is an direct broadcast address. This 2 IP we cannot assign to the host. Remaining 6 IP we can assign to the host. 200.200.200.2. 1 can be taken as default gateway. The default gateway IP address is common for whole this network. 248. Default gateway is 200.200.200.1. 200.200.200.3. Subnet mask is 248. Default gateway is 200.200.200.1. The default gateway IP addresses can be assigned to that interface switch 0 that can be connected to that router 0 in fast Ethernet 0/0. So in that interface we can assign that IP address interface fast Ethernet 0/0 IP space address 200.200.200.1. subnet mask 255.255.255.248. Now we can assign that interface. Now we can assign the IP address to that interface. The interface is in off state, so we can enable that interface using that command no shutdown. The short form is no shut. Exit. Now we can assign the IP address to network 2. The net ID is 8 to 15. 8 is a net ID and 15 is a direct broadcast address. This 2 IP we cannot assign to the host. Remaining 6 IP we can assign to that network. 200.200.200.10. 9 can be taken as default gateway. Subnet mask is 248. 200.200.200.9. 200.200.200.11. Subnet mask is 248. Default gateway is 200.200.200.9. The default gateway IP address can be assigned to switch 1 that can be connected to router 1 in that port fast Ethernet 0/0. So here we can assign that IP address. Enable configure terminal int fast Ethernet 0/0 IP space address 200.200.200.9. Subnet mask is 255.255.255.248. Now we can assign that IP address to that interface. The interface is in off state. We can enable to on state using that command no shutdown. In short form we can use no shut. Exit. Now we can assign the IP address to network 3. The net ID is 16 to 23. 16 is a net ID and 23 is an direct broadcast address. This 2 IP we cannot assign to that host. Remaining IP address we can assign to the host. 200.200.200.18. 17 can be taken as default gateway. Subnet mask is 248. 200.200.200.17. 200.200.200.19. Subnet mask is 248. Default gateway is 200.200.200.17. Now the default gateway IP address can be assigned to that interface router 2 and switch 3. Configure terminal interface fast Ethernet 0/0 IP space address 200.200.200.17. Subnet mask is 255.255.255.248. Now we can assign that IP address to that interface. The interface is in off state, so we can enable that interface using the command no shut exit. Now we can assign the IP address to all local area network. Now we can assign the IP address to wide area network. The net ID is 24. 24 is a net ID and 27 is a direct broadcast address. Remaining 2 IP we can assign to that port serial 0/0/0 and serial 0/0/0. In serial cable there are two ends are there, DCN and DTN. In DCN we can apply the clock rate and DTN we cannot apply the clock rate. So this is an DCN because the clock symbol is show. So here we can assign clock rate. Interface serial 0/0/0 IP space address 200.200.200.25. Subnet mask is 255.255.255.252. No shutdown. This is an DCN, so we can apply clock rate. Clock space rate 64,000. Exit. Interface serial 0/0/0 IP space address 200.200.200.26. Subnet mask is 255.255.255.252. No shutdown to enable that interface. Here we can assign the net ID 28. 28 is a net ID and 31 is a direct broadcast address. Remaining 2 IP we can assign to the both end serial 0/0/1 and serial 0/0/1. This is an DCN, so here we can apply clock rate. Interface serial 0/0/1 IP space address 200.200.200.29. Subnet mask is 255.255.255.252. No shutdown. So this is an DCN. Here we can apply clock rate. Clock space rate 64,000. Exit. This is an DTN. Here we cannot apply clock rate. Serial 0/0/1 IP space address 200.200.200.30. Subnet mask is 255.255.255.252. No shutdown to enable that interface. Exit. Okay, here we can assign the net ID 32. 32 is a net ID and 35 is a direct broadcast address. 33 and 34 we can assign to that port serial 0/0 serial 0/0/1. So this is an DCN. Here we can apply clock rate. Interface serial 0/0/1 IP space address 200.200.200.33. Subnet mask is 255.255.255.252. No shutdown. This is an DCN. Here we can apply clock rate. Clock space rate 64,000. Exit. This is an DTN. So here we cannot apply clock rate. Interface serial 0/0/0 IP space address 200.200.200.34. Subnet mask is 255.255.255.252. No shutdown to enable that interface. Exit. Now we can assign IP address to all local area network and wide area network.